Hey guys, Pull a Tray here, and we're going to jump right in. We got the 615 notes. Patch just got released today in North America, and it's short and sweet, so we'll try to keep it short and sweet here as well. So Braum, basically, significant damage and nerfs at early levels. His Q's down 10 points at all ranks, and his passive is down a ton, 14 points at level 1. And it does scale up toward the end of the game. But this is, I think Braum is no longer going to be the best level 1 champion in the game. Probably fall down compared to some other great level 1s like Nautilus. But anyways, I think this is a good thing. Braum has a lot of offensive potential in lane, despite being primarily a defensive-oriented champion. So overall, a great nerf. Definitely, hopefully will affect the pro scene. We won't see Braum all the dang time. We'll see. The quirky change, I don't like it. Don't think it does much. 60 seconds less on the package cooldown. It'll be from 5 minutes to 4 minutes, but you're not backing every 4 minutes. Maybe in competitive play it'll do something. They do tend to back more often in competitive play as they're doing early game rotations. And maybe that's what they're looking for with this. Hecarim, both an attack damage nerf and a Q damage nerf. This is going to substantially impact his early clear. He already doesn't have a extraordinarily healthy clear, and this is actually going to slow his clear down quite a bit, because not only are you losing the damage on Q, which is a very spammable ability, but you're also losing all the AD ratio from the 3.5 AD. So yeah, just going to slow down those early clears, weaker ganks. I don't think it was really necessary to nerf Hecarim that much. I think it's a meta shift that has him performing a little bit better than other junglers, but in my opinion wasn't really that big of a deal. Illoi, you can see tentacles in the brush, no more surprise hentai party from Illoi. Just a small little buff there, especially for top laners with those anchor points in the top brush. Jarvan, nice little buff here. Jarvan usually starts E, so he's going to get this extra 5% attack speed starting at his very first camp, and that's just going to help out his clear time and his health recovery from the passive on the Hunter's Machete. I like this. I think Jarvan's been kind of in a weaker place than he should be. Not quite as fearsome because of his weaker early clear and inability to get out there and shave off people's heads. So hopefully we'll see a little more Demacia in our future. Karma, great nerfs here. She's really been dominating pro play recently. Very bizarre, but they took her Mantra E, which is the shield and speed boost, and they made it more Orianna, less Sivir. So toned it down at early ranks. You have to max E to get that 60% speed now. Kassadin. Nobody ever really wants to see Kassadin buffs except for Kassadin players, I think. But the mana change on E is good, I think. E was already a situational ability, and having it be a little bit cheaper early on when you're not maxing it, pretty good. The Q thing is kind of weird. You have to have 2 points in it to break even from before, and then it starts getting a little bit stronger, up to 15 more damage at max rank. I honestly, I couldn't tell you. Do people play Kassadin with an Emax or Qmax? Looks like still doing a Qmax, so that's gonna help. Fortunately, I don't play the champion very much, and thankfully I haven't had to play against him very much in recent months. Malzahar, I think this is actually an excellent nerf. First off, this opens up a nice window in the late stages of the game where you can land poke and then land something on Malz. And not have him immediately just recover his passive. Also, taking the shield duration from 1 to a quarter second is actually pretty huge, because Malzahar does have cast time and ramp time on several of his abilities, and being able to potentially land CC on him before he can perform full combos and before his Voidlings are wrecking your face. I think that's going to add a lot more flexibility for champions that should counter Malzahar to be able to actually do just that. Nidalee. So quite a bit of changes here, but the highlights are Q has more damage, especially at early ranks, which is excellent. Q, my opinion, has felt pretty weak ever since they gutted it, you know, a long time ago, which is fine. We didn't need more of Hotshot Nidalee GG, but it's just kind of been underwhelming compared to what you remember from Nidalee and Spears. The Cougar Q is a little bit stronger in the early game and a little bit weaker in the late game, which is weird, but it does have a higher ratio, so I think this will kind of wash out. This 28 damage that you lose will wash out with a little bit more of that AP ratio. And then the hunted damage increase is a little stronger. They did have on the PvE, thank God, they had a nerf where they removed Hunt from Nidalee's trap, leaving the trap to be just the most useless ability in the game. They did not put that in, thankfully, so don't have to worry about that if you were keeping up with PvE patch notes. Small bug fix on Pounce, and the real deal here, this is a pretty high mechanical, like a high-end mechanical nerf, but both R and R will not reset Nidalee's basic attack, which is going to slow her clears down a little bit. And I think that's fine. I think that's totally fine. Renekton no longer has exponential scaling on his ult, but that doesn't actually matter because it's just better all the time. Got 10 more damage and 20 more damage per second at ranks 1 and 2, as well as an instant 20 Fury on cast. That's pretty big as well. His early lane combos, once he hits 6, are going to be brutal, so just watch out. You know, if it used to be if he's got 60 or 70 Fury and he all in on you, he's only going to get 1 immediate empowered ability, but now he's going to be able to get 2 extremely quickly. Just be aware of that. If you're up against Renekton, you should be a little scared, which is exactly what Riot wants. Shin, they nerfed his health regen from 10 to 8.5. They did the same thing with Trundle. I don't know, a couple patches back, and who really gives a shit? It's not that big of a deal. You can fix this with less than a quint of health regen if you really wanted to. Shyvana gets her ult more often. That's excellent. I love dragons, and so having her ulting a little more in the early game when that's her only real ganking tool, I think that's a great change for Shyvana. I'd love to see more Shyvana. I think she's a great champion to have in the meta because she kind of warps the game a little bit in a interesting direction because she can farm very quickly and invade well, but she isn't an oppressive duelist or ganker. And she's not quite as useless as a Nunu. So I just think she has interesting mechanics when she's in the game and would love to see more of her. So Sona, they buffed her ridiculously in the last patch, and I didn't really know why. She was already doing fine. I mean, let's take a look. Win rate by patch, she was already at 52, 53. I mean, those are fine win rate percentages. Like, that's definitely on the good end of the spectrum. And here, she's been sitting at 58%. They did hotfix some of this stuff. But basically, the heal is pretty much always worse than before the buffs. Because it used to heal additionally based on missing health. It no longer has that, and the values are only 5 higher and a little bit higher AP ratio than before the buff. So overall, less healing. The shield is still significantly better than before, however. So that makes smart trades with Sona better than they were before. Dumb trades are still they're gonna be worse because the heal is worse. They also have taken the movement speed down on E. This actually isn't really that big of a deal. It's the same as it was pre-buff, but it still has a higher AP ratio. It still has a 50% higher AP ratio than it did. So it is, I believe, 6% movement speed per 100 AP when, you know, average Sona build is going to have 150, 200 AP relatively quickly. So she's still going to be skating around the map quick. This is not that big of a deal. The heal thing is a pretty big deal. That's 25 points off at max rank. So, oh well. I love Sona, but she has been a little ridiculous on this patch, and even I've been banning her when I didn't want to play her. Talia, if you've been watching any pro games, you've been seeing people using Talia, especially Bjergsen, as basically a Twisted Fate. And so Riot has basically made the cooldown of Talia's ult exactly equal to Twisted Fate's ult, which is good since it's basically a better but harder to use version of the TF ult that has more immediate flexibility as well. I think this is great. I would actually love to see some Twisted Fate buffs because he has good utility and he's a workable champion, but he's bland and has the worst minigame in the game, in my opinion. Alright, down to Vayne. With this horrible joke, Rock Tumbler, Vayne's Q can now deal bonus damage to structures. That's really good because Vayne usually includes a lot of early crit in her builds and very little AD, and crit has no value for killing towers. So Vayne has been one of the slowest tower killing AD carries in the game for a long time because she has no steroid to use against towers and then is just dealing pitiful auto attack damage. This will make it just a little bit better, especially if you do Q max, but nothing to write home about. They also made the crits consistent. That's fine. It just means Vayne's crits are going to be more enormous when they happen, and yeah, less enormous when they don't happen. Victor change, Chaos Storm. Previously, if it was going outbound, it would start to slow down, and if it was coming toward Victor or diagonally toward Victor, straight on toward Victor, any of that, it would get the bonus movement speed to return. Now they're making it so you have to self-target Chaos Storm to get that bonus movement speed. So I think this is fine. This allows like assassins to get in and actually do their job versus Victor, which has been a big problem because of Victor's zone control with the stun, as well as the Chaos Storm burst damage and Rylai's procs. Vladimir, they are lowering the base movement speed a little bit, and Sanguine Pool now has 2 more seconds on cooldown at all ranks. It's great. Open up more windows of opportunity to beat Vlad's ass, and that's always good. Zach, another bug fix, not a big deal. Zyra's Q damage is up just a little bit, 20 points at max rank, 5 points per rank after rank 1. And just a little higher AP ratio. She's already like the highest damage dealing champion in the game, but hey, why not? Let's throw some more damage on her. I play a ton of Zyra, so I don't mind, but I don't think it's really necessary. I think she's fine as it is, so probably one of these situations where she's going to wind up overtuned and nerfed in some other way. Hopefully not, but... Items. They made Ardent Censer and Mikael's Crucible both unstackable with the same item. So basically, if you buy 3 Ardent Censers, you're only going to get the heal and shield power once. People were stacking these, which is weird because it's actually still fundamentally worse than buying AP to go with your heal and shield power, except on champs where your AP ratio is so low that it just sucks. But people were doing it, and Riot felt like removing the noob trap, I guess, so only buy one of these, Ardent Censer or one Mikael's. You can buy them both and they'll stack with each other, they just won't stack with the same item. Alright, and the big change of the entire patch, in my opinion, outer turret bonus gold. So Riot's trying to fix the lane swap issue in pro play, and I think that this will fix that issue just fine, but I think it could introduce new issues that maybe nobody wants to deal with. And that is basically, so to explain the change, bot lane turrets no longer have a damage reduction at all, which means bot lane turrets are easy to kill even in the early game. In addition, the fortification only lasts for 5 minutes on the other turrets, and it's stronger. So in the first 5 minutes of the game, don't even bother killing a turret if you're mid or top. Don't even hit it. Just go roam. Do something else. Ward, spot out an enemy jungler. Do whatever. Just don't try to kill a tower. It's going to take years. But bot lane, you can kill a tower very quickly. So this is going to force teams to match lane against lane and not do the 4-man push to trade towers in the early game. And furthermore, the turrets now have a first blood mechanic. The first turret killed in the game grants a 400 bonus gold to the killer's team, 275 local gold on top of the 250 local gold that you get just for the turret, and then an additional 25 global gold per champion. I personally think this is extremely snowbally. It's quite a bit of gold in competitive play, and it's a ton of localized gold in solo queue, with uncoordinated teams in an early game environment. I think it's really got the potential to increase the snowballiness, especially in solo queue. I think that pro teams will usually have an answer if they get turret first blooded. They're usually going to have something going on somewhere else on the map, and because the fortification is so short, you still are able to do turret trades. They just won't happen quite as early as they did before. And obviously, you're going to have to play around this as a team. But I think pro players, pro teams, they're going to have that down in a few weeks' time and be able to make the most out of it without getting shafted if they lose out on that turret first blood. But solo queue, I don't know, man. Sounds scary to me. A couple quick twisted tree line changes. Won't go deep into this. Basically, Lord Van Dam's is a combination of a Sunfire cape and a kind of like a Black Cleaver sort of effect. I think it's cool. I mean, that's fine. Bruisers probably need a couple more options on the map. There are a lot of AD carrying support comps that have been running rampant for many months on Twisted Tree Line. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. They've got a couple more small changes here, but nothing too crazy. And yeah, so hope you guys enjoy this patch, and definitely if you have any feedback about the patch rundown, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like the video. Take care.